Welcome to ETHDam, to ETHDam, to ETHDam.
I'm Pavel from Igra Labs. We're building Igra Network, which is EVM, zero-knowledge-based rollup, on top of Kaspa BlockDAG decentralized sequencer. Our DevNet was recently launched, and testnet is coming this summer. We have 15 teams building on Igra. What's this talk about? I try to explain today what I think is a minimal constraint for rollups is, and why based rollups on decentralized sequencers, decentralized shared sequencers, can be a solution for fragmentation of programmable blockchains. So it's not only about the scale in Ethereum, it's also about building the better designs for programmable blockchains in general. So this is, and let's talk about rollups. Rollups is a scaling solution for Ethereum, and actually Ethereum found its product market fit as a settlement layer. You can see by how many teams built on Ethereum. It's a great match. Real product as an infrastructure. I'm not really sure I understand ultrasound mining narrative for Ethereum, because Ethereum as a infrastructure make much more sense. It just works. Again, you can see by amount of rollups which are already built on Ethereum. And rollups initially made a lot of sense as a scalable execution environment, but they completely doesn't make sense as a standalone consensus. Because building your consensus is hard. It took several years to get where it is now. Same goes for several other projects. I mean, also Bitcoin, to get this credible neutrality. So why should we build it? But still, that's what people did. They built L2s with centralized components, especially centralized sequencers. This famous tweet states, inform us that it's actually a good thing that L2 base actually paid 1% of its revenue back to layer 1. I don't think it's because Base or any other rollup is malicious and diverge from Ethereum just because they had it. No, just because there is no better solution for them than to build whatever they build currently. I will touch it in a second, what I exactly mean by that. So that's this drama around extracting value by L2s from L1. I think it's like kids growing up in parents' house and not paying rent despite having their own salary. You can apply social pressure to solve it, maybe, but it doesn't scale. I believe we should have a combination of different incentives. We should build architectures which gently enforce systems, rollups, whatever, just to behave in a rational and eventually good way, like this, the sharing is caring, not isolated. Being decentralized should make sense. Fragmented shouldn't. Why this happened? It's because we don't have blockchain trilemma, we have quadrilemma with interoperability being the central ingredient, the central missing ingredient. Without interconnectivity between systems, everyone's go astray and start building their own thing, and we don't have any alignment in the ecosystem. So why interoperability is a missing ingredient? First, I think because it's hard to build. Consensus is hard to build, as we know. To build credible neutrality, consensus, decentralized in terms of validator diversification is hard problem. And then synchronizing between them, it's even harder, because you have different ecosystems, different syncing between them is a hard engineering problem. People are telling me, why you think Ethereum is not replaceable? Why can't we use anything else? Essentially, rollup is just a web service, and Ethereum is AWS. We can replace AWS with whatever we like and then build on this foundation. No. You can't, because Ethereum is a brilliant product. I still have bags in Ethereum. I'm building on completely different infrastructure now. Without coordination mechanisms, it's not going to scale. So Ethereum makes a lot of sense. We should improve it, but without coordination, it's not going to work. There are also several different credible consensuses on the market. There is obviously Bitcoin, but yeah. And there is another solution which I will tell you about in a second. So just saying, how would you create this communication layer between rollups? When we talk about modular architecture for programmable blockchains, specifically Ethereum-compatible blockchains, this makes sense for other chains as well. Consensus is actually a sequencer. Your sequencing defines your state, and that make a lot of sense to externalize your sequencer and make it shared, and that's what's important. But then, unfortunately, what we see in all existing L2s, instead of externalizing sequencer and make it shared, they have it centralized, and it's a single point of failure. It's really weak solution by any regard, and this is what we currently have. Like we have silos, we have islands, which connected with very fragile, very non-reliable bridges. It doesn't scale, it's permissioned, it doesn't make any sense because there is no other solution, unfortunately. Islands are drifting away because they don't have proper communication. It's crazy. We, as an industry, like Web3, have web servers. If you think the rollup is a web server, you should wait 7 days for another web server to confirm your call. Or collocate your APIs on the same machine so you can call them. Because that's how currently it works. Like if you want to call a smart contract from your smart contract, they have to be collocated on the same rollup. So there is a solution in the form of based rollup on shared sequencer. So this way, every rollup actually which share the sequencer can effectively communicate with another rollup, share state. All rollups on top of the same sequencer will inherit its liveness and security. So again, it has to be strong, fast, and credible sequencer. But then, once you have it, you can have several cool features in your ecosystem. The coolest thing about based rollups, again, based rollup, it's a rollup which use another based layer as a sequencer. When you share a sequencer, you can have atomic composability, meaning one rollup can call another in the same transaction. These calls will fail or execute simultaneously, like in atomic manner. This can create like some really, really cool applications. And this can create actually a network effect, which we're all looking for in programmable chains world. So also you can build, if you want, you can build a unified asset layer similar to Solana. So every rollup will actually reference the same assets, which also defragment the ecosystem, helps to fight fragmentation of liquidity, which is kind of a good thing. You can plug in diverse VMs. Think your rollup uses Solana VM or whatever, Wasm, or I actually talked to the real guy who wants to build on Lisp. And think that this Lisp rollup can call another Solana rollup in the same transaction. This is a solution for fragmentation. We shouldn't look elsewhere. That's something which can really move industry forward, because I'd argue we stagnate a bit. If you look at layer 2 TVL, it's kind of stuck, right? You see, it was a really strong growth in first years, like 2022, 2023, and then 2024, down. Why? It's not like we're completely out of money. There is still TVL, but it's not growing. It's partially because of VC money. They don't come anymore for rollups, but it's also because there is nowhere to grow. These L2s, they're not super interesting. It's kind of like you can live in your small Kraken rollup. You can live in your small base rollup, or like no diss to Arbitrum or Optimism, like was using them a lot. But again, you have limits. You're in your small kingdom. It's not how internet works. Like in internet, you build with each other, you cross-pollinate, you take your data in 1 second, and it just works for you. So why should we have something different in Web3? Like, can't we do better? Why can't we build it tomorrow? Why can't we have it? Why can't we have nice things? Well, because there is a hard constraint in this architecture, and this is a sequencing speed. For shared sequencer to be proper communication and interoperability solution, you should have really fast, not just credible, but really fast sequencer. It's not just about security, it's also about subsecond finality of your base layer. You should have enough block space, security and credible neutrality. For Ethereum layer 1, for example, there are several initiatives. Watching them really close, happy to see like these things evolved, because to be honest, when I heard 5 years timeline in Bangkok last year, I was kind of astonished, not in a good way. But then finally, like some better, like improved solutions came up, and then like so now latency probably will be partially solved by based preconfs. This is like post Fusaka upgrade end of this year. Then by dunk sharding, the blob space will be increased. So just more space to sequence your transactions. For interop, I've seen interest in cross-rollup messaging protocols. You need adoption. It's a social coordination thing. It's hard to build. I think we're looking at least 2-3 years time until Ethereum can be this perfect sequencer. I might be wrong, but it's just my hunch. We should look elsewhere. And there are several really interesting projects on the market. So obviously there are in Ethereum-centric world, there is Espresso, Aztec, Radius, Astria. like this really great projects. Like, there is lots to learn. But for us specifically, Kaspa BlockDAG stood out. It's a BlockDAG, essentially. It's a system which built as a direct acyclic graph. You can think about this as a very performant Bitcoin. It was based on Bitcoin script and its core logic. It's proof of work. Not many people here, because I thought I could be really burned here on a stick, like not so many people, I can fight all of you. But yeah, it's proof of work, and I'm talking about proof of work on Ethereum conference. I'm that reckless. But we think that it has a really interesting, unique properties. It's not just speed, although speed is there. It's a recent upgrade just unlocked 10 BPS, 10 blocks per second. And it means roughly converts into 5,000 transactions per second. It's not just speed is not interesting. Like my local computer can do 1 million transactions per second. But it's interesting because it's a credible and secure base layer consensus. Any layer 2 built on top of BlockDAG will inherit its liveness, 5,000 TPS, and security. Today, it's secured by 1 exahash. So for the context, 1 exahash is what Bitcoin had 8 years ago in 2016, so it's not that far. So fingers crossed, we'll get this on our BlockDAG as well. And yes, it has several other great properties. For example, since there is no complex builder proposal separation, miners actually, like, these are entities which sequence your transactions. It's MEV resilient, meaning you cannot easily extract value. It's harder, it's resilient. I'm not saying there is no MEV if you try, but it's more resilient than other systems. And it opens the way to interesting mechanics like fair auctions. So miners compete for your transaction, not you paying rent or fee for, for using this specific L2 blockchain. And also there is possibility to use actually miners as oracles. So you can use this consensus, BlockDAG consensus, for serving as Oracle network, which is really also very interesting, cool design. And like for people who like super skeptic, and I completely understand that, it's 3 years, for 3 years running in production, and it's secured by 2 billion of liquidity. So I invite you to research it, to ask hard questions about that. We think that its security and credible neutrality properties make it excellent shared decentralized sequencer. At least for us. So I cannot cover Igra network architecture in deep, don't have time, but if you like, reach out if you're interested, I can give you details. So this is a really quick overview. And we are currently at in the middle of very interesting debates about programmable chain architecture. And this debate is mostly Ethereum-centric, because the rollups idea came from Ethereum Foundation. It makes sense. We want to expand this debate and invite you to look at better, simpler, more modular systems with high decentralization, because it matters. We believe we can build blueprints that benefit new ecosystems absorbed into Ethereum itself, right? So once it's ready. So yeah, we came here to build systems that's decentralized, performant, secure, and interconnected, and bring value to people. I'd love to open this up to discussion. There are lots of open questions here. The conversation will benefit from different perspectives. My DMs are open. Thank you for coming.
A big round of applause for Pavel, please. Thank you. If you have any questions, please use Slido. You have one question. How exactly does Kaspa DAG architecture help Ethereum scale?
Super high level. If you use Kaspa BlockDAG as a shared decentralized sequencer for your L2, and also do settlement on Ethereum with zero knowledge. I left out all parts which touch zero knowledge, because it will be just would be just twice as long. But then if you do your proofs on Ethereum, you enjoy from Ethereum security and credibility, and you have super fast sequencer, and then you can have synchronous atomic composability, and finally have interconnectivity solution, which we're all desperately looking for.
All right, thank you. That's pretty much it. No, one more time, please thank Pavel for very technical breakdown of how to scale Ethereum. Thank you.